Hello Blossoms, happy October. So here is our monthly training video. I'm going to break it down into two parts, one for everyone and then the ending more for new consultants. So people who've been around a while, don't have to listen to the same thing. So let's first talk about, now that we're on Blossom's page, and I just want to talk a little bit about when you have a question or what is our line of contact, like how we should go about getting in touch or getting our question answered. So our first resource is our consultant manual. If you did not get one, there is a downloadable copy, but that is a great resource of information for you. Our second place to go would be the search bar. I think it took me 2 months to even realize that Facebook groups had search bars. So search bars are wonderful. I use them probably every day in our Facebook groups. When I want to find a take a look, I just type in take a look and up pops every take a look thing that's been talked about. So if you have any question, it has probably been asked, and if it hasn't been asked in our group, Blossoms, though it probably has, go to Book Brigade, use their search bar, and I guarantee most everything's been asked in those two groups. Maybe not. There'll be a few new thing, that pops up that I didn't think. But for example, book. Just type in book and you're going to find people talked about it many times. Baby shower, you're going to find it. Preschool, you're going to find it. APO addresses, do we ship there? You're going to find it. So you don't have to feel like you have to write a question and wait for an answer. You're going to find tons of comments about your question. So search bars, great one, search bars. So next one, if you don't find it those places in your manual or in the search bar, then ask your question. You can tell we have such an amazing team that is so helpful and supportive. So many people are right there to help with our questions. And, if you don't know and no one answers that question, then maybe tag me, a few hours go by and no one answered, because I can take it up the line. Like maybe it's a thing that really none of us have done yet. And I can take it to like a leaderboard and ask on there, which I've done many times. So only for situations that really haven't been addressed or we don't know yet. So thank you for that. And then the last one is your team leader. Of course, if you ask a question and no one really knows the answer and yada yada, contact your team leader. All right. So that's our ways to go about getting our things answered. All right. The next thing I want to talk to everybody about is our Blossoms Drive. All right. We are working in that Blossoms Drive. I think, as I talk right now, I think my husband's sitting beside me making a videos category in the Blossoms Drive, linking all of my videos, all the videos we had in the pinned post, such as Amy Pesolano's Facebook privacy one, which is awesome if you don't really want to friend everybody and all those hostesses or potential recruits, you're nervous about that. There are amazing privacy things that Facebook has that would help you out and, help you figure that out. And there's a bunch of videos in there. So take advantage of that. Go check it out. Kendra Weaver, the wonderful Kendra Weaver, is going to start working on our graphics folder in Blossoms Drive. She's going to get rid of all those non-branded graphics, non-branded, up to code, whatever I want to say, and add them and organize them and just make it a wonderful resource. I'm very excited about that. And I will be tweaking around in there. I have been working on scripts and trying to organize the scripts area, and yeah, we'll just keep making it awesome. So I want to say, go in there, look around, and yeah, and if you have any graphics that you see aren't there but you have, maybe, you know, send them over Kendra's way, or she, you know, could put them in there where they go or whatever. All right, one of the main things I'm going to talk about in the training video is recruiting. We all know that our 25% commission is wonderful. It is fabulous. But the big money, the real money, lies in building a team, of course, under you. And yeah, so let's talk about that. So once you start sharing your love of the company and your love of the books and your successes, it just happens. It does. And, you know, in the very beginning, obviously you don't really have many successes to share, but you will. And, you know, the first maybe 5 weeks, I probably didn't even put up the recruiting post because I just felt silly about it. I just thought, oh, I'm not gonna ask people to, whatever, they could ask me if they want to join. And so I didn't. And I didn't have one recruit. You know, it just didn't happen. And so, okay, so so sharing it, yes. And even with personal friends, obviously. But that is not going to be where the main crux of your people under you, your team, comes from. Your main recruits will come from your Facebook parties or your home parties. That is really how you build your business. And so during our parties, we have the recruiting post. And this is a side note, so my brain was thinking. So this is a side note, but we just made that montage. It's a testimonial. That is what I use on my recruiting post. And I know a bunch of other girls too now. And I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, my husband said he would like to make everyone on Blossoms, so all of you Blossoms, a free customized one that helps your business. So what that means is, you know, the montage, I think we have a link here. A link to the montage right here. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, click that link or come back to that link. But what is it? So it's a few girls looking this way, testimonial style. And then at the end, he will customize and put your little snippet of a video, 30 seconds to a minute, in there. And you'll say, hey, I'm your consultant, blah, 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 blah. You know, he gives you a little sample thing, just a little thing to think about what you want to say and customize it. Anyway, I mean, some girls have shared wonderful success with that. And I mean, think about it. Our girls at our parties, all our guests have been watching video. And then we're like, hey, and join our company. It's awesome. But now we have a video. I mean, that's what they're used to. And then they see people and they hear about it. I think it's fabulous. So email him at capital UBAM, small letters video @gmail.com if you're interested or you want to even hear what it's about or what you'd have to do. Okay, back to recruiting. So let me say that. All right, put up that post. Now, when anybody shows interest, this is what I do. Say her name is Jamie, because that's the girl who's showing me interest right now that I keep staying on. So Jamie showed interest. She just said, or she asked a question. She said, hey, how much money do you make a week? Or how many hours do you put into this? So right away I tag her. I answer the question. Usually in a really chatty, la la, and this and blah, blah, blah. Not just 10, obviously. You know, I think it's, yeah. So you want to do a personable answer. Then right there, in that same answer, I will say, hey, we just had a Take a Look at Usborne Q&A last week, and you can look through the numbered posts, or we're having one tomorrow night. Would you like an invite? You can learn all about our awesome company and ask any questions commitment free with a little wink face. And then, would you like an invite? Then I say, would you like an invite? And I think all of them but one, I can kind of remember, one girl, you know, asked a question, then she said, no, I'm really not. But all of them have said, yeah, sure, I'll take an invite. Awesome. because that Q&A event is fabulous, and so many join the company after going to one of those. And they really just see the impact on literacy, they see the stats on literacy, they see the business, and there's no sales quotas, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's a no-brainer. So to invite them right there. I wouldn't even follow up even the next day. Like, I really try to ask them right when they show interest, because that's when you have them thinking about it. If you come back the next day and say, hey, we're having a Q&A, your success rate is not going to be as good. I really don't think so. So that, I definitely suggest that. There's always a Q&A, a take a look. You can either invite them to a past one, which I do. I mean, we're constantly adding people to those past ones, or it closes the day before the next one is going to start. And then there's a link to that. Invite them there. So you want to do that. Now, my next thing is follow up with them. Who I would say almost none, but I could be incorrect. I think I have about 50 personal recruits right now. Almost none of them followed up with me. I followed up with them. And I would say in like 24 hours, I wouldn't let much more time go past. And I'd just say, hey, Jamie, what do you think? Just checking in to see what you thought of the Q&A. Do you have any additional questions? That's it. That's simple. I probably have 4 or 5 girls maybe right now that I'm just keeping up with. You know, I know their names. I should write them down. It's all kind of in my brain right now, but take little notes, write their names down. And sometimes I've come back in a month or 2, even 3. And, you know, some of you most amazing ladies here are those people that I just kept in my mind, and you probably know who you are. And I, would put a little seed in there. You're planting seeds every once in a while, because if they showed interest, sometimes they say it takes 5 times before that no becomes a yes. Or not that I heard no from them and I kept asking them, but just keep planting that seed. So I would say in 24 hours, if that person doesn't answer me in those 24 hours, I might send another one 2 or 3 days later. A little, hey, what'd you think? Whatever. A little bit different, but yeah, something. And then I'd probably wait a week. I'd space it out then. And then if the month changes, I'd send the new kits and be like, hey, we have our new kits. What are you thinking of Usborne? And yeah, so planting seeds is very important, and following up. I really can't stress that enough. Fortune is in the follow-up. And yeah, so, all right, let me go on. I could drag that one out a long time. All right, I think I'll say a little bit about hostess coaching before I get just to newbie stuff. All right, hostess coaching, we are going to be making within the next, cross my fingers, and maybe I'm making myself accountable if I say it out loud, 2 months, hopefully before the end of the year, a whole bunch of training videos. One will be devoted, that will happen in November, that'll be devoted solely to hostess coaching, and a bunch of different ones. So I'll just say a little bit now, though more will be coming. When I send out that get the most graphic, get the most, or hostess coaching, it's that list at the very beginning, maybe 5-6 days before the party starts, and you say, hey, if you do everything on these, or here's a great graphic to help you know what to do during, how to stay active for your party. I will throw in an extra book for $9.99 if you can achieve everything on this graphic. And then I roll it into 35% off hostess incentive reward. So I'm only paying $3.50 for that. And I would say 98% of my hostesses since then have worked to get that free book. So that is a great one. And then, you're sending them that little blurb every day, the communication to hostess off our Roach Facebook script. So that is a great coaching. And so I just want to mention that. I'm not going to mention too much because we're going to have a big thing on that. But now I'm going to say that's all I have for you ladies who've been around a while, because you've heard me say these things a few times. So I'm going to give you the rest of the phrase, and there is some hidden in the consultant of the month. There is some hidden in our October challenge, and the rest is right here. So. Okay, now I'm just going to address you new consultants who have just joined or have been around a little bit. I want to point you in the direction of some of the other trainings or some of the other wonderful things that we've talked about in the past that have helped people out. The one thing I want to talk about is hostess incentives. You know, we've all are confused about those when we first join. In the August training video, here's the link. And the first probably 5-6 minutes, I really address them, and I'm hoping to make a video just on those soon. But that is where I feel your best resource right now. I tell you how I use them, and you're free to use them any way you want, but I've had a few people tell me that it really helped them, so check that one out. And now, another thing that you probably, if you've been around a few weeks, notice we talked a lot about booking outside the box. Here is another resource, another video where I talked a lot about that. So check that one out, where we try to turn our prize winners into future hostesses, and a lot of people had good success with that. And also where we send those post-party tracking number private messages. Those can be successful. You know, it's always good to pull one or two in. All right, I really want to mention and stress, some people pick it up. I talk about it definitely in the setting up your first Facebook party video, which all of you usually watch to start off your first launch party or, your first party. And I just stress again that tagging in the comments, doing your pre-party posts, don't underestimate, do that tried and true Roach Facebook script, and give yourself a good 5 days to do your pre-party posts. So set those next parties up 7 days out, no less. Have them have time to invite. You're doing your pre-party posts and tagging in the comments, especially that how old are your readers post, and trying to pull in those RSVP'd who haven't, those invited who haven't RSVP'd. You really want to pull them in because they won't see any posts if you don't get them to say yes or going, yes or maybe. All right, and then I just want to encourage you all, because I want to tell you in my beginning, some of you may have seen my post last month where I talked about my story and how I got here, but in the first, before I promoted, I only had 9 parties. So my beginning was very slow. And sometimes as new recruits or new consultants, we see people saying, oh, I have 2 or 3 parties every week. I have 4 parties this week. And you're thinking, how is that possible? And please know that those people have been around a while. You know, they've been around a few months. I thought the same thing when I joined. I thought, oh my gosh, I will never, who is going to have those parties? How will that happen? But it does. Once it gets rolling, it does. And, you know, in the beginning, in 3 months I had 9 parties. So, and the one girl who just promoted, she said she's only had parties that were 150 to 200 in sales consistently for her 3 months, and one party they hit 500. So if your parties are lower in sales, also don't be discouraged. I know it's hard to be. You want those, you hear people talk about $1,000 parties. I've never had one. Never won 1K party ever. So people have them. Don't be discouraged if you don't. It has no future bearing on your success, I promise. And that's all. So I just want to encourage you all and have a wonderful fall selling season. Really get into that Beat Black Friday challenge. I hope you are booking some of those parties. I've just sent out some messages, and I got 3 today saying yes they will, some past customers, which is very exciting. And okay, have a good month.